assaulting officers during an incident at a Newark ICE detention center. She's accused of interfering as agents tried to arrest Black Mayor Ras Baraka. And survivors of the deadly Sapelo Island dock collapse in Georgia are suing the company that built it. 7 people died and nearly 40 fell into the water during a Gullah Geechee celebration last October. Black civil rights attorney Ben Crump is representing several victims' families. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
1 year from today, the 2026 Soccer World Cup is scheduled to jump off here in Los Angeles. People from around the world will be in LA for at least a month for one of the premier events in all of sports. With LA facing turmoil from immigration protests and soldiers on the streets, what will LA look like a year from now? Will people from so many countries feel comfortable coming to the U.S.? LA has a year to get ready for a major sporting event and a major economic windfall. Will that be enough time for LA to move past the trauma in recent days and be the positive destination World Cup officials are hoping for? The New York Knicks are having a hard time with their process to hire a new coach. After firing Tom Thibodeau 2 weeks ago, they have been denied permission to talk with 3 coaches: Jason Kidd at Dallas, Ime Udoka at Houston, and Chris Finch at Minnesota. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Hit the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is Resilience in the Face of Chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. So glad to be back on KBLA this afternoon as we round out the week with Wealthy Wednesdays. Our very special guest will be none other than Dr. Reverend Todd Yeary. He will be with us momentarily. Let me make this announcement. We have a very special guest on the Jesse Jackson Jr. program on Friday. The mayor of the city of Chicago will be speaking to the people of Los Angeles from our show on KBLA. I'm going to ask my colleague, my friend, and of course, my boss, Tavis Smiley, to join me in the second part of the show to ask any questions that he'd like on behalf of Los Angelinos and the people of Los Angeles. No one has a mind quite like Tavis Smiley. He's on the ground in Los Angeles. They're at KBLA, and his insights and his questions from the people of the city of Los Angeles do matter, because the query that he can bring and the thoughts that he can bring to the dialogue on Friday will be very important. For those of you who can hear my voice in Los Angeles on Friday, the mayor of the city of Chicago, the Honorable Brandon Johnson, will be our special guest live on KBLA. I want to opine for just a moment before we come forward on an opportunity. If I were chairman of the Democratic National Committee, today Pete Hegseth said they are now looking at 10 additional states to federalize the National Guard, which means that the National Guard is coming to a major sanctuary city somewhere near you. The testing ground, as Mayor Karen Bass has said, is in Los Angeles. They feel like they are in some kind of laboratory, some kind of test tube to determine the extent and the uses of unprecedented federal power. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said he does not see an invasion. That man is hired by Donald Trump. Don't forget, Donald Trump fired the African-American chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and put in one of his own. And one of his own said, I don't see an invasion. And therefore, the use of federal troops, federalizing the National Guard, should be a local police function. The mayor of the city of Los Angeles said LAPD can handle this. The governor of the state of Illinois, of California, said we can handle this. But there's still an opportunity. The opportunity to change the narrative. The president's authoritarian messaging, whenever they show up, for example, in Philadelphia, the people of Philadelphia have the power to remind the nation that it was in our city that the words, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. We have an opportunity to message when they show up in Philadelphia and show an unprecedented patriotism that something is not right here. An opportunity for different messaging to hijack the president's authoritarian messaging when they come to New York, the city where the Constitution of the United States itself was first written. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Yes, that document saw us as 3/5 of a human being, but of course we're not that. An opportunity to change the narrative when the National Guard comes to Chicago. Jean Point du Sable, a Haitian immigrant, founded our city, and no, he was not eating cats and dogs. We can change the narrative when the National Guard comes to Atlanta. There we can remind them that Sherman marched to the sea. There we can show them where Dr. King worked to build a broader and a better society for all Americans. When they come to Washington, D.C., there where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his dream speech, we have an opportunity to hijack the messaging on high patriotic plane. Yo también tengo un sueño. I too have a dream. Yo también tengo un sueño. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, we're going to talk about the issues of the day with Dr. S. Todd Yeary, 1 foot in the pulpit and 1 foot in the courtroom.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates Pastor and Mrs. William Sachs Epps on their retirement from stewardship at the historic Second Baptist Church. Dr. Epps has faithfully served Second Baptist as its senior pastor for 37 years. What a legacy of love and leadership. Pastor and Mrs. Epps will be honored at a luncheon on Saturday, July 26, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal University, and you're invited to attend. Noted scholar Dr. Michael Eric Dyson is the keynote speaker. For ticket information, please contact epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. That's epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. To Pastor Epps and First Lady Epps, congratulations from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. LA's newest soul food restaurant is getting spectacular reviews.
Great place with amazing food. The Sunday champagne brunch is fabulous. I saw the place on IG. We tried it for lunch. We were blown away by the food and the service. The restaurant has an inviting atmosphere and a dynamic vibe.
Over the years, Lionel has catered most major Black events in Los Angeles, including all of our KBLA Talk 1580 gatherings. But now he has his own spot, Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine, and you need to check it out at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles. Oxtails, baked or fried chicken, meatloaf, turkey chops, pork chops, catfish, short ribs, and all the fixins. Collard greens, mac and cheese, yams, red beans, black-eyed peas, and more. And of course, hot water cornbread, satisfying drinks, and delicious desserts. Lionel's is a great place for brunch, lunch, or dinner. If it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you, because we've got your black. So head on over to Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles and tell Lionel you heard about it on KBLA Talk 1580.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. According to ABC, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told lawmakers on Tuesday that he and President Donald Trump have the power to send National Guard and active duty troops anywhere in the country to ensure immigration and customs enforcement agents can enforce the law. An assertion that, if carried out, would open the door to a historic clash between Donald Trump and Democratic governors. We believe that ICE, which is a federal law enforcement agency, has the right to safely conduct operations in any state, in any jurisdiction in the country, Hegseth told the House Appropriations Defense Subcommittee. ICE ought to be able to conduct its job, whether it's Minneapolis or Los Angeles, he added. Hegseth's testimony before the House panel came as some 4,800 National Guard and Marines were en route to Los Angeles for a 60-day deployment after protesters clashed with law enforcement, setting cars on fire and spraying on graffiti on buildings. These are the times that we're living in. Now, I believe the Department of Health and Human Services, under the right leadership, has the power to go into any city, any state, and any jurisdiction and find people who don't have health care and give them health care of equal high quality. That's my use of presidential power if I were president of the United States. And yes, I would stand between the governors and anyone else who says that a poor person who does not have health care, that the federal government has the right to provide them equal high quality health care. If I were president of the United States, I would look at every school in the nation, all 90,000 of them, and I would determine which high schools in this nation produce Olympic athletes. Well, Olympic athletes who swim. And I would look at every high school in the nation that does not have an Olympic-sized swimming pool with an Olympic-sized swimming coach budget. And I would make sure every high school in the nation, in the ghetto and the barrio and the trailer parks of our nation, had an Olympic-sized swimming pool and coaches so that children on the south side of Chicago could have the same opportunities as children who go to high schools in different jurisdictions in the United States where they're preparing Olympic athletes. What high schools and what public colleges and universities have ski teams? And they end up on the slopes of Europe during the Olympics. And I would find every high school and college in the nation that's public that has a ski team, and I would make sure that every public high school and college in the country has ski coaches and the necessary facilities to train American young people in skiing. But for that matter, why don't we just come all the way down to elementary school? If there are schools teaching Greek, Latin, French, Spanish, and foreign languages at the earliest of levels, as President of the United States, I would insist that just because you live in a certain zip code, that the right to a public education of equal high quality, while it may not be in the Constitution, as President of the United States, I have the right to come into your state and into your local jurisdiction to make sure that poor children or children whose educations are funded off of property taxes, where there are no large businesses, but local homeowners are responsible for footing the bill for public schools because Amazon's not there, because Google's not there, because the Apple store is not there. That the federal government has a role and a responsibility during the educational life of a child to make sure that that child on the south side of Chicago, the south side of LA, from Compton to Beverly Hills, that you would not be able to distinguish between the quality of education because as President of the United States, yes, I would step into your state and make sure that no child is left behind. That's not Donald Trump's position. That's not Pete Hegseth's position. That's my position. It ought to be the position of the Democratic Party. That the gaps that remain unfulfilled, that remain wide, the chasms, the valleys that exist in our nation should be closed, and that everyone shouldn't just have a valley view of American life, they should have a mountaintop view of American life. I believe that in the core of my being. Tomorrow, I'm boarding a flight at the end of this show, flying to Los Angeles to spend the week at KBLA for our Juneteenth and 4th anniversary celebration events. That's what I will be doing in Los Angeles, starting tomorrow night when I arrive at LAX at 10 p.m. On Friday, the mayor of the city of Chicago will be joining us on our show to share his concerns and his solidarity with the people of Los Angeles and the support and the relationship that he now has and has had for a number of years with the mayor of Los Angeles to strengthen the bonds between our cities and our shared suffering. Because a government that should be of, for, and by the people, a government that believes in an invitation given to us by, I believe, the French, sitting in the harbor of New York. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses who yearn to breathe free. It seems to be an invitation for Europeans, not an invitation for our Mexican brothers and sisters who like us, understand the nation's agricultural business. We talk about slavery, we talk about picking cotton, we talk about harvesting tobacco. The nation's first agricultural workers en masse were Black people. We are here not only as part of trade policy, the slave trade, we are also here because of agricultural policy, free labor, picking cotton. We made cotton king, harvesting tobacco. And the jobs that we no longer do are now the responsibility of migrant workers. Some come to the United States seasonally. They get a taste of American life. And then they return to the barrios and the ghettos of Mexico and South America. And when they come back with their children, they come with their minds made up that America, compared to where they are leaving, is a land of milk and honey. All the complaints we got. My fries at McDonald's wasn't hot enough. I did not order pickles on my Big Mac. I did not ask for salt on my chicken. All of the complaints that we raise as Americans are luxuries by comparison to the world's poor that are knocking at the door of a land that promised them milk and honey. Some of these people come up here and tragically end up in human trafficking. Families are separated. Mothers never see their children again. Women forced into a different kind of slavery. The slave trade. Some of us say this is not our problem, it's the Hispanics' problem, it's the Mexicans' problem. It is our problem. Because they know not the king. They know not what we had to do and what we had to struggle through to get our rights, and while fighting for our rights, securing the rights of everyone who enters these shores. We own the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. No slavery, no involuntary servitude, and too bad we weren't in Congress to knock out that incarceration language, except for those prisoners in the 13th Amendment. No blacks in Congress at that time to object to that language. We should have, if we could have just been there. But that wouldn't happen until the 15th Amendment. The right to vote for black men. It excluded black women until the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. But that 14th Amendment, that thing we put right there that transitioned us from slaves and chattel to citizens. This is what Malcolm X meant when he said, "We were here before Plymouth Rock." We did not land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. He's talking about something in 1492. I'm discussing 1865, 1864. The 14th Amendment to the Constitution, 1867. I'm discussing that Reconstruction era that we don't talk about on Memorial Day, that we don't talk about at Thanksgiving, but were central to our identification as Americans when we came to the United States forcibly as part of trade policy. So you're damn right I'm concerned about tariffs. And you should be. Because anything that impacts the balance of trade, including tariffs and taxes on Negroes, ought to be taught in every public school in this nation and private education. Negroes understand trade policy. You understand what it means to be on a grocery store shelf, to be on an auction block. Nobody ever had to go through that. It's not something we want to talk about. But we are part of the business of America. And our movements have demanded human rights and human dignity for all people who enter this nation because of what we've experienced. And so I can't sit on the sideline and just watch our Latino brothers and sisters get rounded up by the federal government that once came south to free us. Without the federal government intervening in the states because of the abbots of life, because of the governor of Georgia of life, because of the governors of Mississippi, Alabama, the governors of Tennessee, and other governors, including free state governors, the governors of Kentucky, the governors of Maryland. The very history that they don't want us to talk about is exactly the history that our brown brothers and sisters need today. We've been here. We've been on this path before. What is the way out? Well, you can't do it by yourself. We're going to have to organize, as I shared when I first came on this radio show 6 months ago. My father organized a rainbow coalition. He said at the Democratic Convention, red, yellow, brown, black, and white, we're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody, Daddy said. But maybe we're moving now from the rainbow coalition to what I call the pain-bow coalition. What's happening to our Hispanic brothers and sisters in Los Angeles, the disrespect that their families are experiencing, the separation of their wives and their men from their families, and the relocation and dislocation of their children without any form of accountability or reunification. Man, that's the Negro story, y'all. That's our story. And then Dr. King shows us a way to handle the story. No Molotov cocktails, no graffiti, no rocks thrown at law enforcement. In fact, after John Lewis got beaten crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge, a series of meetings took place with the National Guard, with the President of the United States, that we had a right to peaceably protest. What's taking place in downtown LA at night is not our struggle. That is not us. And everybody who finds themselves in the Apple store looting or stealing ought to be locked up. You are not speaking for us. We are ministers. We are a God-fearing people. America means something to us because we built America. I own America. America is mine. I am not moving to Nigeria or to the Congo or to South Africa. I'm down with the brothers. I'm down with the red, black, and green. I'm with the cause. I am America. And I've been to all of these nations, and I can't, no matter how long I spend there, no matter how righteous the cause, I can't wait to get back home. I'm so American, I can't see straight. But I'm Black American. I'm African American. I'm a compassionate American. I'm an American born of struggle, born of sacrifice, more American than people who wave the flag. I got a right to put the flag up. I got a right to take the flag down, and I got a right to shout at that flag. Because our people put 2 stars on that flag ourselves. There were 13 stars, and to put 1 free state and 1 slave state in the Union, we're responsible for adding the state of California to the flag. It's called the California Act. It was a compromise between a slave state and California. California has a right to rebel. It has a right to protest. It has a right to reject authoritarianism. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, I guess today, more of me on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says ICE raids targeting everyday people are unacceptable and called for them to end.
These aren't the criminals the administration is allegedly targeting. These are mothers and fathers, restaurant workers, seamstress, home care workers, everyday Angelinos trying to make a living.
She joined other local mayors in condemning the actions and has imposed an overnight curfew in part of downtown LA following days of protest. Former Clayton County Sheriff Victor Hill, who is Black, says he's running for Congress in Georgia's 5th District. A Democrat, Hill is focused on crime and prison reform after serving 18 months for civil rights violations. And Black Maryland Governor Wes Moore is sending out nearly $460,000 in disaster recovery aid to Allegheny County after last month's historic flooding. Over 200 homes and businesses were affected. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year and their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
1 year from today, the 2026 Soccer World Cup is scheduled to jump off here in Los Angeles. People from around the world will be in LA for at least a month for one of the premier events in all the sports. With LA facing turmoil from immigration protests and soldiers on the streets, what will LA look like a year from now?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
1 year from today, the 2026 Soccer World Cup is scheduled to jump off here in Los Angeles. People from around the world will be in LA for at least a month for one of the premier events in all the sports. With LA facing turmoil from immigration protests and soldiers on the streets, what will LA look like a year from now? Will people from so many countries feel comfortable coming to the U.S.? LA has a year to get ready for a major sporting event and a major economic windfall. Will that be enough time for LA to move past the trauma in recent days and be the positive destination World Cup officials are hoping for? The New York Knicks are having a hard time with their process to hire a new coach. After firing Tom Thibodeau 2 weeks ago, they have been denied permission to talk with 3 coaches: Jason Kidd at Dallas, Ime Udoka at Houston, and Chris Finch at Minnesota. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, also known as AD, a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior, making everyday tasks challenging. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? There are things you can do to help reduce your risk for developing AD. Managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure is crucial. Staying physically active, maintaining social connections, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your mind engaged with activities like reading or puzzles can all contribute to brain health. It's also important to recognize some common signs and symptoms of early AD, such as forgetfulness that causes problems with everyday life, asking the same question a few times in a row, and difficulty concentrating on basic tasks. If you see these signs in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
After nearly 20 years in Congress, he knows how to get at the issues that matter the most to you. Every day, he takes a deep dive into politics, social justice, and the stories that shape our community. This is where prominent people unpack perplexing problems. Unfiltered, unapologetic, unmissable. You're inside the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. My very special guest today was going to be Attorney Todd Eury, Reverend Dr. Todd Eury, who has 1 foot in the courtroom and 1 foot in the pulpit. Today, both feet are somewhere other than on our show, where they're supposed to be. But we trust that Reverend Eury is extremely busy somewhere fighting for justice. I want to touch on, continue with this solo theme about a new patriotism. Dr. King was above all else a patriot. He believed that we should have the Bible in one hand, the Constitution and the American flag in the other. And it guided all of his actions. That matters to this national conversation. I understand and I appreciate everyone's sense of ethnicity in this moment. When I turn on the TV in Los Angeles and watch CNN and MSNBC, and I see flags waving everywhere. Now is the time to wave the American flag. There should be hundreds of American flags being raised by protesters, not flags of other countries, because we're discussing our rights. And the imaging that the nation sees coming from Los Angeles to the rest of the country must reflect a unique patriotism. That what we are being denied are American rights. The protests that we are having around the country on No King Day cannot be held in Venezuela or in Russia or in many South American countries. We are discussing a unique idea in human history, American rights, human rights that have been earned and paid for, oftentimes at the end of a rope, dangling from a tree. Strange fruit in the South. Racial discrimination in the North. Gender discrimination coast to coast. Orientation discrimination globally. America is a new idea in human history. And what Dr. King understood about this experiment was this. In all of our anger and our frustration, the experiment must continue. It is the only chance that we have to even practice living together. And these struggles still remain difficult. Even the highest precepts of our Christian faith, for those of us who are Christians, to love our neighbors as ourselves. What other system is based upon that unless your neighbor looks differently than yourself, is culturally different than yourself, is religiously different than yourself, has no religion whatsoever, but they have the same respect from me of people who do believe, and they have the right to practice in this system their non-belief. Or even for the agnostics, the right to practice not knowing, with the hopes, from my perspective, that one day they might discover this idea that one nation under God is a unique idea in human history. And I did not say under Jesus, I said under God. I'm talking about that immutable force in human history that is responsible for the cosmos before the idea of Jesus. Jesus, for me, at best, beyond my faith and my belief in the resurrection, is the best example of how to make very difficult spiritual concepts work. And America is the best chance in human history where we can even try. What comes next after the American experiment to me is unimaginable. Something we haven't seen yet. When the mayor of the city of Chicago comes on our program on Friday, it is my hope, I might as well make a pitch for it right now. I hope the mayor of Los Angeles comes and joins the mayor of the city of Chicago. Be interesting to have them in a dialogue about what they see as mayors of major cities where people are asked to live together, to work together, to understand their differences, to believe in each other, to go to school together, to be in hospital rooms and hospital beds next to each other, to not walk past homeless Black people, homeless Hispanics, homeless white folks, vagabonds, but to see the condition of homelessness unnecessary in the wealthiest nation in the history of the world. That maybe some sense of commonality and brotherhood might emerge from the idea and literally define a new faith system. A faith system that makes us unique in human history. We are the American people. We are not the German people. We are not the French. We're not the English. We're not the Congolese. We're not the South African. We're not the Mexican people. We are the American people. Red, yellow, brown, black, and white, all precious in God's sight. Something unique about us, where we can look at men and women in uniforms across from us, and we don't have to spit at them. We don't have to throw rocks at them. We don't have to throw Molotov cocktails at them. I understand. I know. I heard Dr. King. A riot is the language of the unheard. That's not Dr. King encouraging a riot. He's saying we must find new ways to be heard. Welcome to my kitchen. My new way to be heard is on KBLA. My new way to be heard is to march with my feet. My new way to be heard is to preach on Sunday mornings or to speak at public events. That's my way to be heard. And if I'm heard, I can listen to other people and I can avoid a riot. No one is encouraging rioting. They are not like us. People who are rioting are not like us. And therefore, when Dr. King and our movement created a new way to protest, the government was on our side. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, some final thoughts. Until tomorrow.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilman Curran Price, inviting you to join us on Saturday, June the 14th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. as we cut the ribbon on the brand new Enel Woods Park at 8703 South McKinley Avenue. Thanks to a generous donation from Heal the Bay, the park features smart irrigation, stormwater capture systems, and space for local wildlife to thrive. And we've built a walking trail, picnic areas, native landscaping, and quiet spaces for families to gather, relax, and connect. This is part of a much larger effort to expand green spaces across South LA with 3 new parks in the works, a first-of-its-kind community center coming soon, and plans to connect it all through the South LA Greenway. So mark your calendar for Saturday, June 14th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., and come celebrate a greener, stronger South LA at Enel Woods Park. I'm also pleased to sponsor the Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium, moderated by Tavis Smiley, live on C-SPAN, Wednesday, June the 18th, from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. Just a reminder to sign up right away at the KBLA1580.com website to join me, Mayor Karen Bass, Congresswoman Sidney Kumlager Dove, Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson, Dr. Cornel West, former Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., the Sierra Club's Ben Jealous, and other Black influencers in the climate and health fields as we continue to amplify the connection between climate and poor health outcomes for our people. Thank you for listening. I'm Councilman Curran Price.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
The Peace Lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to nip foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps find talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. This is not the first time that I've ever had to talk to myself. I've been in solitary confinement. And there I heard, in that moment of silence, a voice. And that voice told me that there was a way out. I remembered a letter that my mother wrote me while I was in prison, and the letter was, "Son, I can show you how to escape prison." I thought that was a peculiar letter from my mother in her book, Loving You, Thinking of You, Don't Forget to Pray. Was my mother encouraging me to break out of the prison camp? I continued to read the letter. And in that letter, she said, "Do you know why the caged bird sings?" She then said, "It sings of freedom." So I want you to look up at the sky. And I've taken you and shown you places all over the world, Jesse. You're my son. I want you to take a trip to Paris. And imagine walking under the statue built to honor Charles de Gaulle. Imagine the trip up the Eiffel Tower. Imagine taking a boat ride down the Seine River. She said, then take a trip to Frankfurt, Germany. Take a trip to Robben Island in South Africa, and take a trip to the Middle East. I've been to Gaza, I've been to the West Bank, I've been to Israel many, many times. I met with Bibi Netanyahu, I met with Shimon Peres and other Israeli leaders, as well as Palestinian leaders, Saab Erekat, trying to fight for peace. She said, you don't have to be in prison, my son. Just take a mental flight out of there. And oftentimes I found myself taking that mental flight. And during this past break, since I just have a couple of minutes left in the program, I took a mental flight. And I thought about the COVID, how many people we lost and were dying, and the debate amongst some Americans over whether or not we should be vaccinated. And that debate about vaccinations still persists. But because of American science, we eventually arrived at a vaccine. But the point, the more I think about it, isn't about the vaccine. It's about something far more important as Americans. We as a people had to achieve something called herd immunity. We had to have enough people vaccinated and in agreement that we could fight off a virus and a disease as a group. What our movement lacks from coast to coast is the idea. And I think Governor Gavin Newsom may be stumbling upon something here. We have to achieve as a people in this era of authoritarianism and oligarchical behavior, when we look at the undermining of the government of, for, and by the people, the only way that we have to build a more perfect union is to reaffirm our citizenship rights and to reaffirm our faith, not only in ourselves, but in the Constitution itself. We as a people in this environment have to achieve herd immunity, where what hurts a Los Angelenos hurts a Chicagoan, it hurts an Atlantan, it hurts someone in Philadelphia, it hurts someone in a barrio, a ghetto, a trailer park. We as a people have to achieve herd immunity. And that's a far higher calling than just, should I get vaccinated or not? If we can achieve herd immunity on the idea that government of, for, and by the people should not perish from the face of the earth, that democracy may be seeing its worst days, but there are systems far worse than the collapse of democracy, where the people actually have some say in the process. Herd immunity, that extra step in Christianity, where we turn to each other and not on each other, where we lay down our guns, we lay down our rocks, We lay down our flags of different nations and pick up the flag that is our own. Let the National Guard take our American flags from us. They will pause if they see the American flag. Let them take your Bible away from you as they handcuffed you. Something in their conscience will not feel good about that. But they have no problem taking your rock from you and your Molotov cocktail from you and your mask off your face. We did not wear masks crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We meant to be seen as men and women fighting for our rights, fighting for our children, and fighting for the nation. This was not accidental. Who are the agent provocateurs Cornel West raised in the last hour? They are anyone who has not been trained in our struggle, even the ignorant amongst us who've not been trained in our struggle, are a threat to peace. Because our movement for love and nonviolent resistance will win in the end. That's what Senator Nina Turner said in her conclusory remarks in the last hour. That this struggle is a short-term struggle against the backdrop of human history. Evil does not last always. I wish I could reach up and grab a little Longfellow and grab some more poetry in this moment, but I don't have enough time remaining in the program to be as poetic as I'd like to be. So let me tell you a little dream that I had. I too have a dream. Yo también tengo un sueño. That we will see our brown brothers and sisters struggle as our own. We know slave trafficking. We know sex trafficking. We know agricultural workers, and therefore we identify with Cesar Chavez. We understand tomatoes and lettuce and products that we enjoy and take advantage of at restaurants that we don't even ask where it comes from or whose hands have touched it, but it's probably someone brown who came across seasonally and saw a better way of life as an American. It's not democracy that's on the retreat. It's the idea of the American dream that is on retreat. Yo también tengo un sueño. I too have a dream. That one day we'll rise beyond our cultural differences, our social differences, our sexual preferences and difference. Who really cares? It's not your business. Like Governor Walsh says, get out of my bedroom. It's not your damn business. This country does not belong to evangelicals and conservative Christians. It belongs to all of us. But all of us are not asserting ourselves. And the way in which we assert ourselves does matter in this system. Make Donald Trump spend all of the money he wants with National Guardsmen. Let him bankrupt the whole government. Let's serve the National Guardsmen coffee. Let's buy them sandwiches from Subway. Let's thank them for their service. Let's let them know they're wasting their time in Los Angeles. They'll be wasting their time in Chicago. They'll be wasting their time in DC. They'll be wasting their time in Washington, in Atlanta, Georgia, and wherever else. You're wasting your time. Because we're not shooting our neighbors. We're not shooting men who defend our country and women who defend our country. We're not doing that. We want you to go home tonight. Just like we want to go home tonight. And remind them that the precious rights for which they have dedicated and sworn to uphold the Constitution matter for us all. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
KBLA 1580.